Ladies and gentlemen, this is All Things Pro Wrestling with your host, Danny Harrow.
And Mike Larkin, CCW contributor and podcaster extraordinaire, host of On the Mic with Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a little bit different. You have seen All Things Pro Wrestling. You have heard All Things Pro Wrestling. And we usually have guests on the show. We talk about their lives. We talk about their wrestling experience. This is a little bit different. We are going to be predicting WWE's Money in the Bank, which is July 1st, this Saturday, from the O2 Arena, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And going forward, you'll see more stuff like this on the All Things Pro Wrestling page. Today, we're focusing on Money in the Bank. So let's get into it. Michael.
Yes, sir.
We have our first match I want to get into. We have Gunther versus Matt Riddle. Give me your thoughts.
Whew. Well, first and foremost, Gunther in this one-year reign as Intercontinental Champion, probably one of the most dominant Intercontinental Champions that we've seen in history in this current time period in the WWE. And he's taking on Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle with that MMA background, former tag team champion. His work in NXT speaks for itself with Timothy Thatcher and Pete Dunne and so on and so forth, especially with Randy Orton. I think these two are going to have probably one of the most hard-hitting matches on there, equated to what we saw with him and Sheamus, and then boom, taking the role of Sheamus, we have Matt Riddle. I think the story going into it as well, Matt Riddle working on Giovanni Vinci's leg and really breaking that ankle, so to speak, and really just working over him, both beating each other down. Here's the prize, the Intercontinental Championship. I think this one is going to be one of the sleeper matches of the night, but if I had to pick who's going to retain, I'm going to go with the Ring General, Gunther.
I have a take on that in terms of both of these men deserve this win.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll talk about Gunther for a minute. The 1 year reign, I go a little bit more into depth into it. His body transformation into what he was before NXT, what he was in NXT, what he is now on SmackDown. They look at that too. They don't just look at your ring work. They look at your transformation, how serious you're taking your job, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like because of all that contributing to one, he deserves this win. Now with Matt Riddle, I'm talking about like his life experience, with the suspension, coming back. They put him on every single show since his return. He's worked for them. He's done everything they've told him to do. He's excelled. And because of that, I think my main pick would be Matt Riddle as your new champion. But if I had to go with what WWE is going to give us, I think they stick with Gunther.
Man, I like that too, because I think with all the trials and tribulations, it's really about being the best representation of your presentation when it comes to pro wrestling and everything in life. I think from that standpoint, I can feel you on the Matt Riddle side of things. And first of all, a Matt Riddle Intercontinental Championship reign would be absolutely awesome. But yeah, I think the WWE with the direction that they're going with how Gunther looks compared to what he looked from back in the day in NXT UK to where we are now, I think for what he did, he was smart. He stuck to the plan. When you're working out with a son of a gun like Ludwig Kaiser, for God's sake, who's another one who's in great shape, I think it's just listening and just the amount of discipline you put into his body, and you see what the results that are turning out from it.
I agree. Like I said, for me personally, and from people I've spoken to, Riddle should be the one that comes out with this win. But knowing everything that we have to take into consideration, WWE picks Gunther is what I think.
All right, fair enough.
Moving into the night, we have another match. This one kind of doesn't make sense to me. I know obviously every match has a storyline coming into it. Doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. We're still going to see it. Dominic Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. Now, don't get me wrong. I love WWE. I critique it a lot because I love it so much.
Right.
This match to me and to everybody makes zero sense. Obviously we all saw how it came to be. I don't think these two should be fighting each other at all, especially this early in Dominic's career. I know Dominic has improved a lot from when he first started. A lot of people were like, he shouldn't be a heel. He can't be a heel. And now everyone's like, he's an asshole. Like, no one likes him. Everyone hates him now. Despite that, I still feel like it's too early for someone like Dominic Mysterio to be facing Cody Rhodes. But here we are this Saturday in London. We get Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. What are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, the ultimate heat magnet. I equate it to someone I'll relate to here, Vicky Guerrero. Every time she would come out with "excuse me," get that nuclear heat, that heat magnet that Dominic Mysterio is. I mean, they're both generational talents. With Dominic, his father, obviously Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio, his senior, the uncle, and of course Cody Rhodes with Dustin and Dusty. Man, I look at it from a stance too as well. If you look at the history of Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio name is synonymous with that. His first ever singles match, WrestleMania 27 against Rey Mysterio. So there's tie-ins there. Cody's a dad, the deadbeat dad, playing off of that. It's the subtleties, intricacies, and nuances that really go into this. And I mean, when you're trusting Dominic so much that you're putting him in there with Cody, I mean, he's one of those guys, Dominic Mysterio. If you had told me this about like a year ago, where he was just like Stein, okay, he's Ray's son, former tag champ, and then boom, this Judgment Day storyline has come. He's really coming to his own when he's facing a veteran like Cody Rhodes in here. I think it's either sink or swim, but god dang, man, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be very interesting. I got to go Cody winning. It really could go both sides. I could see a screw job where Dominic wins or Cody, but for me, I'm going to go with who I want to win, that being Cody, and then Brock Lesnar comes out F5, and then we get Cody and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. So I will go with Cody, but it could go either way.
I like that theory. I like that thought. So I'm gonna give my prediction, and then I'll give what I think WWE is gonna end up doing. So of course, as just a Cody Rhodes fan from even back in the day with Stardust and stuff like that, I gotta go with my man, Cody Rhodes. But I think WWE, I've been reading like the dirt sheets and all that there's gonna be a big upset, and I feel like this is gonna be the match where they give Dominic Mysterio the win. I feel like Rhea will be involved in some way. And I even feel like we might see the re-debut of Brandy Rhodes, where she comes out and she fights Rhea, something along those lines. I know they said we'll expect like some surprises. I think she'll be a surprise. But like I said, I'm going with Cody. I feel like WWE will give it to Dominic. Either ways, I'm very interested to see how this match plays out and if they can live up to the standards of this match.
I think I like the style of Brandy Rhodes coming in. We did see Pharaoh on Monday Night Raw, the dog, the debut of the dog. But yeah, no, that's the thing with Brandy Rhodes. I mean, for being a ring announcer to a professional wrestler, I know she got a lot of hate for her in ring work, but I mean, the woman looks amazing. She's tough. She's just rigged. She's raw. I think a mixed tag match would be fun in the future. So there's so many possibilities that we could take from this. But yeah, if you want to talk about an upset, man, I mean, Dominic has beaten AJ Styles, so hey, why not have him beat Cody Rhodes? I feel you.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just feel like this would be a bigger upset than that because of the sense of Cody Rhodes came back to finish the story. Yep. You already have him lose against Roman Reigns. You have him lose against Brock. And now you have him lose against Dominic. How do you rebuild Cody Rhodes from all that? So I'm kind of looking from at it from that kind of standpoint of you have him lose to these three guys. Where's his credibility now to go and challenge for a title? Because you have him lose to all these three people. You know, at that point, I feel like you lose some sort of credibility.
No, right. I mean, if you look at the stance of where Flair and Rhodes back in the 80s, it took like freaking Dusty Rhodes like 3 doggone years to win the NWA World Championship. So it's all about the storytelling and the consistencies in every, road that you go on, pun intended, the road you travel, so to speak. So I get you.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Well, moving on later on in that card, this is my personal favorite match and probably the biggest reason I'm watching this whole thing. Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Whew. Okay, so SummerSlam 2016, he gets the injury. One of my favorite bouts. It's a 6-year, finally, we're going to get this one-on-one encounter that we should have gotten. I love the storytelling of it. Just Finn, he's not getting bitter. He's going to get better. It has that whole demon vibe to him. He's a new reinvigorated, recharged Finn Balor, especially with the Judgment Day gimmick. And now we have Seth freaking Rollins being the world champion. These two have had great chemistry in the past. We've seen them go at it for the Intercontinental Championship, the Universal Championship. So I think the story around here just makes absolute sense. I know this was one of his first title defenses being Seth Rollins. So I mean, god dang, man. I mean, we saw what he did with Braun Breaker, and that was great on NXT. It really went from brand to brand with Raw to NXT, so I like that incorporation there. For me, it could go either way. I would love to see Finn win it, but I think in this case scenario, Seth freaking Rollins is going to curb stomp him for that 1, 2, 3, and Seth is going to retain. As much as I'd love to see Finn win, I think it's a Seth W for this one.
I like that. I think we're on the same page with that. I would say Seth is another, how do I say it? Seth basically is what I said about Matt Riddle. Seth, anything that WWE gives him, throws his way, he works with it, he gets it done. He gets the job done no matter what the obstacle is. And if you're looking at that, then Seth deserves everything he has gotten and everything he has coming his way. And because of that, I think Seth Rollins wins that match, and I think even WWE would have him win that match. Finn Balor, one hell of a competitor, someone that also deserves that. He's big with the Judgment Day, big without the Judgment Day. He has a lot coming for him, but in this match, I do think that Seth frickin' Rollins takes the whole thing. Moving on in that card, we have, let's see, we can, you know what? The women's ladder match. The women's ladder match. We have Zelina Vega versus Becky Lynch versus Zoe Starks versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus the legend Trish Stratus.
Ooh, thank you, Trish. Okay, now I'm going to say right now, if you want to have some fun with it, you would have Trish Stratus win Money in the Bank, just because, like, first of all, she looks amazing, and I think her and like a Bianca Belair or her and a Charlotte Flair, because they too have history, would be interesting if she were to cash in on like a Charlotte Flair. Man, I think for Zoe Stark, I think she's relatively new on Raw, so I think it's too early for her, and I like Zoe. Io Sky, you could tell like we're setting up something with the breakup of Damage Control, and her and Bayley are going to go at it, so I eliminate those two. Man, Becky Lynch has never won it, but it would also be very interesting to see. But man, if I had to pick someone, I mean, if you talk about the ultimate babyface here, Zelina Vega getting herself over with the LWO, the Latino World Order. I really just like, ever since she came out of Puerto Rico with Rhea, like she's been riding that shooting star, so to speak. And I think that would, for the ultimate babyface, I would go with Zelina Vega, but I'm going to go with my personal favorite just because I love the heel tactics. I love that she's getting another run, and again, looks amazing. Just for the fun of it, I would love to see Trish Stratus win, like Zoe Stark is maybe going to win, and then she hands it, then, you know, she goes, no, you Trish, no, you take it, and then Trish wins it and says, thank you, Trish. So for the heel side of me, I want to see that dastardly Trish Stratus. For the babyface side of me, I want to see Zelina Vega, so I'm going to go with the heel side here. I want to see that Hall of Famer Trish Stratus get some Stratusfaction on that Money in the Bank contract.
Hey, I like that. I like that. So me personally, I think automatically who I'm taking out of this is Becky Lynch.
Okay.
Reason being is because as much as I love Becky, I'm a huge Becky fan. I've met Becky a couple of times. She's amazing. We've seen Becky versus Charlotte a handful of times. Right. As much as I love both of them, I don't have to see that again. I think WWE gives it to Trish Stratus. I definitely do. I think that's something that's definitely going to happen. My personal pick here is Io Sky, and I'll give you a little rundown of what happens. Everyone's knocked out. Everyone's on the mat, outside on the barricades. Bayley shoots up the ladder, thinks she's won it all, and Io comes in. Bayley laughs with Io like, haha, I'm gonna win. Thank you so much. And next thing you know, Io strikes her, throws her off the ladder onto the mat, wins the briefcase. End of Damage Control.
I like that. And I think also, too, another popular one being Io Sky, like that ultimate babyface moment, like you mentioned. I mean, with her career trajectory from NXT to the main roster, she's another one, man. I think with someone, what she did with Bianca Belair, especially at the last show, like that one's another one. The sky's the limit, pun intended, with being Io Sky. But yeah, no, I like that scenario. I could agree with you on that. I think from a top babyface, and again, like I said, I love Zelina Vega, but Io Sky is another one to win it on the babyface side. But we shall see. I like your scenario as well. I like your theory.
Thank you. Moving on, we can. I like this match as well. The women's tag team championship match with Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan.
Okay. So first of all, I'm glad to see Liv Morgan back. I really am. And I will say this. I've always been a fan of Shayna Baszler from her NXT run, the Queen of Spades with the NXT Women's Championship tag champ with Nia Jax on the main roster. And I like the fact that the two of the MMA horsewomen are the tag team champions just because of their skill, their training, and their trajectory of their careers and their wrestling abilities, and just great character work. Ronda with the mean face and Shayna is just this brute. Then you have Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez, however you want to define her, Raquel Rodriguez. She's another one, powerhouse. She can move. She's very athletic. Liv Morgan has been here since day one. Her trajectory from NXT with that yo theme to where we got with the Riot Squad to where we are now. Man, she's been through it all. And what I love about it too, as well, she had a doggone injury went out that she's come back from. And I think the rematch is going to be really good. There's history amongst all of these women here. Man, it's tough. And I think since they just unified the titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, I got to go with that badass team of Ronda and Shane. I think will be more of the chase with Liv and Raquel to get it back, because the chase is everything with anything. Finish that story, like we mentioned earlier. I got to go with Ronda and Shane, a team MMA horsewomen, to retain the tag titles.
I like the pick. I I've been a big fan of Liv, New Jersey. Big connection there with me and her. Um, I'm torn because I'm a huge Ronda Rousey fan. Um, and it hurts when you hear all these things on the dirt sheets about Ronda can't wrestle, all the errors she's made, stuff like that. Um, I feel like I agree with you on the have Ronda and Shayna win, so you can see a little bit more of the chase from Raquel and Liv. I also feel like in WWE storyline wise, they never lost those titles. I feel like you give them the win. If you're listening to outside critics, maybe give Liv and Raquel the titles, have Shayna and Ronda prove people wrong. Have them face some number one, like a number one contendership match, have them beat a couple tag teams, and then put them back in the picture. My personal pick, I'm gonna have to go with Raquel and Liv Morgan.
Oh, all right. First of all, I like that pick as well. And I also, something that you added on to earlier here. First of all, there's people out there that shit on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler all the time on Twitter with their wrestling abilities. Oh, they don't do this, they don't do that. First of all, standard Billy Robinson, the judo throws, the joint manipulation. That's wrestling, folks, at its finest. You look at the days of, George Hackenschmidt and Lou Thez. This is the prime example of the history of wrestling that they're doing. People say what they will. Hell, we saw just happen on Twitter with Dana Brooke, and she works her ass off. So haters going to hate and players are going to play, to quote 3LW, taking it back. So it is what it is.
Also, just as someone who has been training,
right,
if you've never been in the ring, never done anything, I don't think you're allowed to have an opinion, but don't shit on these people if you've never been inside that ring, done any of their training, because even if it doesn't look good at your standpoint, they're killing themselves every day training. So,
to add on to your point as well, I add this, folks. It's basic fundamentals, and as the old saying goes, the two S's: make it safe and spectacular. Keep it safe and spectacular, man.
Yep. So moving on, we also have the men's ladder match, which I'm very excited about, and they're talking about this match big time, and we'll get into that in just a few seconds. But the participants: Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Mr. Yeah, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul.
Well, let me talk to you. Yeah, I gotta go on the LA Knight. I gotta go LA Knight. And here's the thing. The man is over. He's organically over. For those who have not seen his work as Eli Drake in Impact Wrestling, NWA, the man, don't get lost in the sauce, the dummy button. He is a charisma vacuum, and he just has it. If you want to talk about the it factor, he has it. The other rumors going around is like that maybe Logan Paul. And I will say this, I like that theory because Logan Paul had that match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. You can build off that, him cashing in on Seth, or you can do the other thing. Like you hear talks of Jey Uso being the one to beat Roman, and I know we'll get to that match in a second. But Jey Uso and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, have Jey win, and then Logan Paul being that dastardly heel, cashes in on Jey and wins the title. There's so many different scenarios that you could do with it. But man, from just because I love him, I love the character. I've been a fan since day one. I love each and everybody in this matchup. I think they're going to kill it. This is going to be the show stealer. But I got to go with LA Knight. Yeah, don't get lost in the sauce. Go ahead.
We agree. LA Knight deserves this. He's worked for this. He deserves this moment. Someone who I think could be a sleeper is Shinsuke Nakamura. I love Shinsuke. I feel like an obvious pick that a lot of people haven't talked about here is Damian Priest. Ooh. He's been killing it. With Judgment Day, before Judgment Day, we've seen him progress from his NXT days to his main roster days. If we're talking about people that deserve it, well, to everyone in this match deserves it. But if you want to talk about the ones that truly deserve it, I feel like Damian Priest is one of those guys. A lot of people are talking about Logan Paul. I'm very into celebrities coming into the WWE world, but proving themselves. We've seen one-offs, we've seen half-ass matches with these celebrities. Logan Paul has not been that. Logan Paul has proved that he actually wants to do this. Every match he's given us so far, in my opinion, has been a 10 out of 10 with a couple mistakes, but 10 out of 10 nevertheless. And I feel like if they're gonna give him this W, in my opinion, he deserves it. I know there's people out there who are like, he's only been here for a year, he's a YouTuber. He's put in the work. He's put in the work. He's doing moves that you would never dare to do. I think he deserves it. One thing I'll dispute with you
Okay.
is, do I think he's ready to win the title? I think he should be a failed cash in. I don't. I personally would be upset to see him win a title. Well, at least one of the major titles. He can in US title, Intercontinental, fine. To win these big championships, like I can't imagine Logan Paul taking off the title off Roman Reigns, nor Seth Rollins. I know they have their history, Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, but then you think about people like LA Knight. Like if you had to pick who deserves to win the title next, LA Knight or Logan Paul, I would never say Logan Paul. Like I said, I love him. I'll vouch for him. I can pick him to win this. I just cannot see him winning a title, at least this soon. Maybe 2 years from now, maybe if he still wants to keep doing this. But this early, especially coming in as a YouTuber, I think that just personally sends a message to the locker room. Like, hey, he has more clout than you. He can bring us in more people. We're going to give him the title instead of someone that's worked on the indies for 12 plus years, made it to WWE, works hard every night, misses birthday parties, misses family events. We won't give it to you, but we'll give it to this YouTuber because he brings us in followers. So that's what I'll say on that.
Okay, fair enough. I'll retort with that. No, I hear you on that because I think a lot of people would say that. And I mean, he does, first of all, #1 podcast in the world. We talk about his views and stuff and his followers. Well, that's the thing too. I like your thing with Damian Priest because you saw the subtleties with him and Finn Balor, the little tension, so to speak, within the Judgment Day. I think that's cool. I mean, here's the thing now with Austin Theory cashing in on the U.S. title, like you mentioned, Logan Paul going after U.S. Intercontinental. We've kind of made the Money in the Bank more like, okay, it doesn't have to be a world title or a WWE title. You could cash it on anybody. So I mean, that also airs the possibility of the element of surprise with it too now.
Yeah, like I said, hey, if he cashes in on Austin or Gunther, I'm okay with that. I just feel like the two big titles, I don't think he should be touching that. I mean, he can be in a Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul scenario as long as Logan's not coming out the winner. That's not to hate on him. That's just looking at people in that locker room that have been there, have worked really hard to not get the spot. That's someone that, and that, but it's sad because that's what WWE is looking for. They're looking for more viewers, more followings, and obviously Logan can bring that because of what he does outside of WWE. I just feel like for two of the major titles and the legacy behind those titles, I don't see a reason why Logan Paul should be winning that anytime soon.
Well, I think for me also, LA Knight went up in my book when he told him to shove that prime up his ass on Raw. I thought that's where it really went for me with that. And that also entices you to want to see an LA Knight Logan Paul match. I mean, with what his trajectory of his career, like you mentioned, the 10 out of 10s with some misses that he's had, I love to see LA Knight against Bad Bunny, the celebrity bouts there, just because it would be fun. And Bad Bunny's killed it as well. So I think right now, Logan Paul being that attraction, I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen with him going forward. But yeah, this is one, like you mentioned, I'm really excited about with the Money in the Bank. Like all these matches really have a big fight feel going into the O2 Arena on Saturday. So I think from there, I'll let you go in and slide in on this one. Let's talk about the main event.
The main event, the Bloodline Civil War tag team match. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa versus the Usos, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso. Give me your thoughts.
Whew. Man. If I had it my way, I would love to see, just because we've seen the Twitter interactions, I'd love to see Rikishi somehow getting involved, being the Usos and Solo Sikoa's father, and that interaction with Roman. I think Roman and Solo, I think we're eventually going to have Solo turn on Roman soon and join his brothers, but I don't think to pull that trigger here. I mean, Roman Reigns, this storyline for the past 3 years has been one of the best doggone storylines in professional wrestling. The culmination here of the Civil War, I think Man, you look at 10 years ago, somebody put a photo of this online. Like 10 years ago, Roman and Seth were the tag champs and they fought the Usos on the kickoff of Money in the Bank. And then here we are 10 years later. Man, I can see in this particular scenario, Roman and Solo going up on this one, and Roman pins Jimmy. Jay does not get pinned. There may be some miscommunication. I don't know. This one I'm on the edge of my seat for, but just because he is the doggone tribal chief. And then we got the Solo Sokoa run, or as I like to call him, Umaga Jr. with that Samoan spike living on the legacy lineage and legacy here. Man, I gotta go Roman and Solo just for this one, and I see Jimmy taking the pin because I think it pushes more for Jay to get on up and move on up to the world heavyweight title contention. I gotta go Roman and Solo on this one.
So
Right.
I like that. I like the take. We're hearing a lot about there's gonna be this one upset or this one thing that no one sees coming for this show. And I think this is a match. I think I have a lot of scenarios playing in my head. I am a creative worker at heart. When I think about these matches, I pretend I am one of the writers and how I would make this go. I think we all do though. I think as a fan, we all sit and we watch, but we also like maybe they can do this, maybe they can do that. So the way I see it, I don't think you can make the Usos win if you want to keep stretching this story out, which they are. I think Roman and Solo win, but a take that a lot of people didn't expect to hear. There's this big surprise coming. There's this big person that they haven't, revealed yet. Even with his busy schedule, how crazy would it be to hear The Rock come out in London at the O2 Arena?
Okay, yeah.
No one has thought about that. No one has thought about that at all. No one has thought about that that at all. Like, it's something that I haven't thought about. A lot of people haven't thought about. Because I thought about the Rikishi thing as well because of the interactions and everything. But how crazy would it be if WWE pulls off The Rock at the O2 Arena in London? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Would lose it, and two, because everybody wants to see Roman and Rock happen, and I think we will eventually get that. But yeah, no, that would be a great surprise if it can happen, like we talked about the busy schedule, but the UK crowd erupting in the O2 Arena when they hear If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking. Man, there's so many possibilities in here, and I think that's what makes professional wrestling great, especially what we're going into this pay-per-view. You just don't know. There's an endless amount of possibilities, and that's what makes being a professional wrestling fan and an appreciator, supporter, however you want to define it, great. Like, I cannot wait just to this event. Like you mentioned here, I think every one of these 6 matches from top to bottom, it's going to be a hell of a night for wrestling, but I like that scenario too as well. And I'm looking forward to this Saturday to reiterate that point.
Another scenario I had was something you mentioned that might not happen now, but a Solo Sikoa turn. Like you said, and I agree. I think it's still a little bit too early for that turn. Another scenario I had was another turn of Jay turning on Jimmy or Jimmy turning on Jay again. And then we have another like, all right, what's going on here? You guys are messing with us. Like, you guys hated each other, helped each other. Now you guys hate each other again. There's a lot of scenarios that could play out for this match. I think if WWE really wants to keep that intensity going and all that drama going, I think if the bloodline wins, it shouldn't be clean. I think something should happen where you stretch this out even more. Unfortunately, as much as I love the Usos, I don't see them winning at all. I don't see a scenario in which they win, just because I feel like if they win, this whole thing is over. There's no, unless they do a thing where Roman has to redeem himself with Solo, or Roman turns on Solo or something like that. I just don't see the Usos winning this one at all.
I don't see it either. I mean, I think the plan is to keep the story going, because once you get to that finale, it's going to be beautiful. And I think that the finale will kick off and end at SummerSlam. The roof's going to blow up the places for these next couple months. And I'm excited to take the ride, as they say. And I mean, we have more NXT takeovers coming. And before that, we got SummerSlam, we got AEW and the O2 in London, Wembley, not the O2. But I'm excited, man. This is going to be a great couple months of professional wrestling. Hell of a summer for 2023, dude.
Yes. And bringing up AEW and Wembley, I think WWE has to make a statement this Saturday. You are in London first before AEW. I think you have to make a statement here. I think you have to do something where AEW has to top that off, which is why I was saying if you bring in The Rock, you're making a statement. You're buzzing. The Rock at the O2 Arena in London for Money in the Bank. That's gonna be a headline for at least a month or two. And I feel like you're up against big competition with AEW going there, as well. Well, Wembley, but I feel like you have to leave a statement.
I agree. I think for AEW, this is their biggest market yet. And I mean, from what the trajectory of what we've seen, I think they want to get that big first time ever singles match with Chris Jericho and Sting, which, WCW written all over it. They never touched. So, I mean, that's one possibility. You don't know who MJF's going to face. He's been wanting competition. So it keeps you wanting more going into Wembley. And especially since we haven't seen a doggone wrestling show there since SummerSlam 92 with Brett and British Bulldog, it has to topple. It has to be big. It's over 31 years now. So, like I said, it's an international spectrum, if you will. Let's do it big over here for Money in the Bank. Let's do it over here big for Wembley. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's good. I think healthy competition breeds competition, my friend.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I've always been professional wrestling lover. I've never been part of the debate of who's better, AEW, WWE. But I've always been the guy that says watch both and just enjoy. Just enjoy, just have fun. It's like everyone says all the time, what a time to be alive for professional wrestling.
I'm right there with you, and I'll put this in the bluntest way I can, and excuse my language, but stop the fucking tribalism, folks. There's a lot of variety of wrestling out there from WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, Major League Wrestling. Support professional wrestling, support the independents out there, whether it be in the Northeast, down South, wherever, even in Canada, the UK, Japan, Mexico. We'll be here all day. Just support professional wrestling, love it, and enjoy it. There's something for everybody.
Yeah, no, I tell people, especially right now, you have 6 days of wrestling out of a 7-day weekend, whatever you want to call it. Out of 7 days, you have 6 days to watch professional wrestling. And if you're into indies, there's literally wrestling every day. Literally. Monday through Friday, it's Monday through Thursday, it's the major companies. Monday through Saturday, it's the major companies. And even Sunday, if you have like those apps, Fight TV, independent professional wrestling TV or whatever, there's literally wrestling on every day. And for the people that don't think the indies are as exciting as these major companies, take time to sit down, watch a show, because those people will give you a show that you can eventually compare to a Monday Night Raw, a Dynamite, stuff like that.
Hey man, I go back all the way to Sports Plus on Long Island. My first ever indie show was Ring of Honor with Nigel McGuinness, with Jay Lethal, with Samoa Joe, Low-Key, Bryan Danielson winning the ROH World Title. So, folks, you have that. You have NYWC. You have CCW. We've talked about Capital Championship Wrestling. We have so many promotions out there. If you've not watched it on Fight TV, because everything is so accessible and at your fingertips now, go to a show because you will be in for a treat. It's a great night of action from top to bottom. So 100% agree with you.
Yes, and I know this is a Money in the Bank prediction show, but you just brought up a promotion that I kind of want to talk about for a few seconds. CCW. They have a show July 15th at the Monster Factory, the legendary Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey. It's a tag team tournament show. Great talent. If you guys are in the New Jersey area, or even title match, the title match app, that's going to be one hell of a show. Marcello knows how to put a card on, and you have the sensational Becca on there.
Yep. You have Becca. You have all these talents from Christina Marie. You have Sarah Leone coming back. Every match, from Mexico. Everybody from Spain, just all international talent, American talent. So the Capital Championship Wrestling, I'll be doing the preview for that shortly as well on the CCW channel. But god dang it, folks, Marcello knows what he's doing, much like Danny here said. If you look at Shine, you look at Rise, you look at Shimmer, Capital Championship Wrestling, for the short time of period that it's been around, we're going on doggone 2 years now. It's been exceptional. It's been hitting it out of the park every time, and especially at the legendary The Monster Factory.
Yeah, that's just being at the legendary Monster Factory is already an accomplishment of his own. But running a good show there is pretty hard. But Marcello has lived up to the hype, and I feel like July 15th will be no different. All Things Pro Wrestling is sponsoring the Renegade Twins, so I'm excited for that as well. But just in general, CCW is a great promotion. If you are not on their train, I suggest you download Title Match, watch their previous shows, get on that, because they will be a bigger promotion than they already are in the next few months. But yeah, CCW, amazing promotion.
I'll add one more thing to that because he talked about the train here, folks. I can quote 2 pop culture references there. We could talk about Ozzy Osbourne and the Crazy Train, or you could do like the Quad City DJs and come on, ride the train, ride that train, take it to the train station, baby, locomotion. Hello.
Yes, yes, I like it. Well, like I said, Money in the Bank this Saturday from the O2 Arena in London, 3 p.m. start time. I'm pretty sure they have like the preview show happening like at 1 or 2. I can't wait, dude. I mean, if I had to recap, they're all great matches, like you said. I don't feel like any of these matches are sleepers. If I had to give you guys the match that I'm very excited for, the reason I'm tuning in, I'll be glued to my seat for this match, is Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. That is the match that has my attention, has me glued, has me wishing I was able to go to London to watch that.
That's a bold choice. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Mine is a tie between that and the men's Money in the Bank. So let's do it.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I want to see LA win that. There's no one else that, I mean, it's not fair to say there's no one else, but if there's anyone very, very deserving of winning that, it's LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we go, and we'll make clips of this later, kind of want to show everyone. I've had shirts in the past. I just want to show everyone this. See if we can get it on screen here. This is the debut, because we debut stuff on our channel here.
Nice.
And we'll make clips of this. Let's see if we can show it on there. I don't know if it's showing. It might not, because it's blurred out. Yeah, it's blurred out. Let's see if we can change that for just a quick second here, guys. Let's see. None. Oh, here we go. I think we got it.
You good, man. Show that bad boy off. There it is.
Here we go. You guys see it. I know the light is a little blur, but that is the new shirt. No official merch just yet, but I will be giving that to talent we sponsor. So the Renegade Twins should be having some talent in general that we sponsor or work with us. We'll be having that. I'll send one to you as well. And if all goes well, we might have that as our first piece of merch. But yeah, I mean, we're doing that. We're getting very serious here on All Things Pro Wrestling. We're doing prediction shows now. But before we go, is there anything you'd like to talk about?
Well, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to All Things Pro Wrestling with our YouTube channel now, and of course, Spotify. You guys can check me out doing my thing at Capital Championship Wrestling, for Capital Championship Wrestling on the YouTube channel, and you guys can check out my YouTube channel, Mike Larkin 92, SM Show 1, and MCL 92, and follow ATPW Pod. That's All Things Pro Wrestling Pod on the Twitter front and the Instagram. All Things Pro Wrestling, man. Links will be in the description.
Awesome, guys. Also, let me plug it. Episode number 1 with the Young Prodigy Marcus Mathers. Episode 2 with Akira, 2-part episode. Episode 3 with Brooke Havoc. Episode 4 with Yoya. Episode 5 with Cole Radrick. Janai Kai, the Kick Demon. Episode 6. And soon enough, we will reveal episode 7. But in the meantime, go listen to all our episodes. Janai's episode, the first ever episode that we have on YouTube. Go watch that. Have fun. Guys, I cannot thank everybody enough for the support. Just even you, Michael, thank you for the support as well. Everyone that has made All Things Pro Wrestling what it is, I'm more than grateful. And because of that, we're going to keep working hard, keep having content, keep recording. This is what I love to do. And it's all for the people that watch and enjoy.
So for Janet Jackson, this is all for you. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Thank you, guys.